And this is 91.3 FM, WCW in Worcester, Massachusetts, the Dr. Chris Radio of Horror program. If you're not listening to me on 91.3 live, then hopefully you're listening to this on our or being recorded right now on VidMe or YouTube, which is the Radio Horror pages where you can listen to all our interviews and other silliness that I do. On YouTube, you'll find a bunch of videos. On VidMe, you're going to find a lot more videos that aren't so conservative. And on the show with me now, returning to the Radio Horror airways for the first time in 7 years, we have the amazing, the talented, the incredibly sexy actress, producer, writer Brooke Lewis on the show with us once again. Thank you for coming back on the show with us, Brooke.
Dr. Chris, first of all, thank you, and your intro was incredibly far too generous, I have to say, but I will take it. It was very flattering. Thank you for all your amazing, beautiful, flattering tweets as well. I love it. And it's so great to be back here. And you know I'm a huge Boston fan, so go Massachusetts. And I honestly cannot even believe that it has been 7 years, because I swear to you, and I'm telling you, I could and maybe it's the actress in me, I could close my eyes right now and sit here and feel like we were just on the interview and it was 7 years ago. So that tells us how fast time flies. But congratulations on all your success with the shows, more than one.
Yeah, when the last time you came on, we actually did it live at midnight over the phone. This is before we had a recording studio set up to do things over Skype.
Yes, that's true. That's true. Oh my gosh, you're like bringing back memories. You're right.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, and I was sober.
You were sober then?
I mean, like, if we did a midnight
did you
show
fall
and
off the
and I wouldn't have been drinking.
I was going to say, did you fall off the wagon between now and then?
Don't you worry. I'm not sober. But I'm saying, I think we did a show and I was actually wide awake and sober that night.
Okay, I was going to say, you're not allowed to be living in LA and be sober. You have to be.
Are you kidding me?
You have to be a functioning.
75% of the people here are sober, because this land, La La Land, and this industry makes you drink and pop pills. Are you kidding me?
Also, at the time that you came on in 2010, by the way, which it was it was either 2009 or 2010. I don't actually remember, so it might be actually 8 years. The only thing that we had was MySpace. Facebook had not blown up yet. Facebook had started 3 years prior, but in 2010 there weren't a lot of people on Facebook yet, as much as there are today. There was just MySpace.
So right. You're so right, because you know what? I started, one of my manager had me start my Twitter page in beginning of 2009. So you're totally right.
Yes, Twitter had just started, but still people were like, what is this Twitter? Who gives a shit that Nicki Minaj is getting groceries, or this fucking celebrity is on the toilet taking a dump? Who fucking cares? Now Twitter is like the most powerful tool on the internet. Thank you, Donald Trump.
Oh, yes, that's true. That's true. Actually, well, I don't know. See, you and I, we're old school, right?
We are old school, yes.
We are. So, like, I have been forced, my PR firm kicks my butt, made me, of course, start an Instagram page like a year and a half ago, and now the youngins are all on Snapchat. What's that?
Snapchat right? is for... Snapchat is for stupid high school teenagers to take pictures of their ass or something, okay? It's just nothing it's just no. I cannot do Snapchat. But, you, as photogenic as you are, and by the way, for anyone who doesn't know what Brooke looks like, and if you're watching this on YouTube and VidMe, you're looking at pictures, because we have a slideshow going on right now on the YouTube VidMe. If you're listening to us live on the air, then you don't see the slideshow. You'll have to wait. Brooke is one of the most photogenic actresses I've ever talked with, and you can go to her website and look at all of her amazing pictures, or just Google Brooke Lewis, and you will see some of the most beautiful pictures of this former vampire horror host on the internet.
Aw, thank you so much. That's really sweet of you to say. You know, again, it takes, for any listeners and any young actresses who are trying to break into the business, you know, it takes an army to, I mean, I work hard at trying to stay young and looking okay, and, you know, but it does take an army to make me look good for the red carpet events and stuff. So thank you to my amazing, like, glamour acts and the girls who do my makeup, and Swan, who does my hair, Swan Salon. I mean, truly, it does take an army. So,
okay.
But thank you for saying that very much. I appreciate it. Trust me, I don't look like that when I roll out of bed in the morning.
I was going to say, are you saying that you don't just roll out of the blood of young virgin women when you roll out of bed or whatever? Just be like, oh, look at my beauty. It's been restored to its youthfulness due to the virgins that I snacked on last night.
Oh, no. And especially when you're working like 18-hour days, no. Half the time I look exhausted and like I just, rolled out of like, a storm. Believe you me. No. That's why in Hollywood, we, roll out with our big sunglasses on so no one can see our face.
Yes, I heard that before. I've had many people on the show that have said that to me. Now, is this the type of advice that you gave when you were hosting Breaking Dating?
About dating advice?
Yeah.
The type of advice I would give would be if you just met a guy and you really liked him and you ended up somehow crashing at his house that night, you make sure to leave your makeup on the first few times. You don't want to scare them away.
I've had that experience. That was one of the between now and the last time you came on the show. Of course, as I said, I've been divorced or whatever. And a couple years later, I had a date with somebody I met at a convention, and she didn't leave till like 6 a.m.
Okay, and did she leave with her makeup on?
I don't remember. She wasn't a big makeup person to begin with, but she was like naturally stunningly beautiful. So have you retired the character of Miss Bambi? Because I haven't seen anything about it in a while, especially like on IMDb. Is it retired? Or are you going to resurrect her?
I like that. I like resurrect the undead.
Resurrect the undead.
As you know, and as the listeners know, I mean, back in 2011, so it was probably after I was on the show last. Back in 2011, she started as as you said, a horror host. My inspirations, of course, are Elvira, and she was a combination of like Elvira and the nanny and Mona from My Cousin Vinny. And so originally, it was a great sort of litmus test with the horror community, and they supported it so greatly, and I'm so lucky to have that. And so then I think you might remember that wasn't on air. We took her, and I had an inspiration. I wanted to use her in a way to help young women, to help teenage girls. And so when the economy started to crash in like 2009, so that was after I was on the guest last time, my two partners and I sat down and we wrote a screenplay, which was actually originally a TV series, then cut into a screenplay, and now back into a TV series again called Vamp It Out. And it's music and positive messages and fun, total like fun family style show with sort of like a Glee sort of hint to it now, a little more mature than it used to be. So it's called Vamp It Out. So we did the Ms. Vampy's tween talk, teen talk, and in-between talk show, right, in 2011. And again, we hired this beautiful cast of teenage girls, and really to get the message out because, and the listeners will appreciate this, especially the horror listeners, when we were pitching the TV show and the screenplay for Vamp It Out, here was the response we got. Welcome to Hollywood, all the listeners. If you're planning to move out here from Boston, or if you are planning to, really fight the fight, if you're already out here in Hollywood, you have to stay that true and committed to your dreams and your passions. And when we were pitching, we were hitting walls, as I often do. Dr. Chris, you know that. I've been challenged so many times in this long career, and it hasn't knocked me down, or it's knocked me down, but I always get back up, And so when we were pitching, you can't even imagine the amount of like TV executives and network people that would go, this is genius, but we don't understand. You're like a horror icon. You're like a Elvira character. You're like this vampire caricature. How could she possibly have positive messages for teens? How could that be? Which, again, is so close-minded in the Hollywood industry. It's like you think just because something is horror-related or a caricature or a character, it can't be positive for young people. And so it's been a battle and a great fight, and I have fought a hard fight, and with love and with continuing my passion. So we did the talk show. I won a bunch of awards. We won a huge communicator award, which is like the makers of the Emmys, and for social responsibility, for product like TV product with social responsibility, our pilot won. And then after that, I once I went back to school then in 2011, became a board certified life coach and launched my coaching business, started writing for a lot of publications and stuff as a life coach, and then had the opportunity to take it into a little bit of a different direction. And I was like, I want to just kind of play with it a little and see if the adults are still interested in Ms. Vampy, but interested in Ms. Vampy with positive messages again. So one of my besties, Stacey Lane Wilson, she and I got together and we ended up doing Ms. Vampy's Bites, where Ms. Vampy was, again, a comedic Brooklyn vampire with a heart of gold, giving positive advice to people who were calling in or writing in, questions about life. So that we did. We got a lot of buzz and interest on that. The horror community loved it, which was great. Now we had the parents in the horror community who were like, okay, our kids love Ms. Vampy for teen information. We love Ms. Vampy because she's crazy, fun, sexy, and has great advice. And then, knock on wood, about end of 2012, 2013, our friend Matt Raub came in and he said, and he was working at a big production company here in Hollywood, and he said, I would love to work with you girls, and I would love to take Ms. Vampy's Bites to another level and do Ms. Vampy's Love Bite. Well, we sat down together and he said, what are you most passionate about? So then, here I go again. I took my life coaching, I took my dating expert stuff. I was doing a lot of dating expert work on TV as a coach. And he's like, well, what inspires you most? So again, listeners, you always want to be inspired. And so I was like, well, I'm doing the dating coaching and expert work, so Ms. Vampy could also be a dating expert. So we did Ms. Vampy's Love Bites, which again was, such a wonderful production experience, really high production value. Thank you so much to Matt and Stacy. And we ended up winning several awards again. We won the Honolulu Film and TV Awards, Best TV Pilot. So it's really been a fun ride. And to finally end the story, where we went from there was teaming up again, because I said, okay, I could sit here and do 9,000 web series and, win awards and so on and so forth. And I've been very lucky. But my dream is to have it as a full-blown TV series. So where we are currently now, come 2017, is Kevin Michael Smith, not Kevin Smith from Clark's, but Kevin Michael Smith and I and Bohemian Management Company, my management company, spent over about a year and a half now redeveloping it into the TV series again. So we are in development and pitches right now, so perfect time to discuss it on your show, Dr. Chris. We are in serious talks right now for it to be a full-blown TV series.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so I know that was a long answer, but there you have it, because I'm going from 7 years ago, right?
Would you want to continue doing this as if Miss Vampy took off, like Elvira, for instance? Would you want to do this forever as your thing? Like Cassandra's now in her 60s doing it?
That's a great question, Dr. Chris. Really, I want to tell you what a great question, because I've been challenged with that. I have been asked that question in major, TV network meetings, and I've had to really think long and hard, because you guys, I love acting.
Yeah, hold on, one quick
acting and.
Just one little interjection about your previous comment about Elvira doesn't have anything for teens and stuff like that. If you ever watched her movie, Elvira, Mistress of the Dark, which is coming out on Blu-ray for the first time ever, finally, loaded with bonus material. Doesn't she team up with a couple teenagers in that movie to help guide them in a way, especially two teenagers that are she realizes these two teens love each other, are into each other, and she gets them together and she gives them a bunch of great advice. And then she has a line when she's leaving the reading of her aunt's will about oh, I don't want to just be remembered for having great hair. I also had a stupendous set of breasts. Or I don't remember the exact line, but it's something about hair. It's hair and her tits that she has, they're amazing.
You know what? And I love that movie, and I'm such an Elvira fan, and her boobs are amazing. And that's a great reference. And her shows were, they obviously, it was long ago, and they were a little bit more racy. Mine are more teen girl, my show's just, if I may humbly say, pretty genius as far as helping tween and teens, there's every episode, one's about body image, one's about racism, one's about hatred and sexism, and there's all these really deep messages.
And Brooke, so she came back on Hulu.
Yes, she is, isn't she?
Yeah, she had new episodes on Hulu last year.
She's hosting still, right?
Yeah, she put out like brand new episodes on Hulu like a year or so ago.
Yes.
Brand new
I think
movies
I
and
totally
everything.
read about that in the trades. Yes, you're right. Yeah,
And
she's
that was like a
doing
huge help for like Mystery Science Theater 3000 to come back.
Yes, totally, totally. You're so on top of the genre. It's so true. You're right. But I think if I'm not mistaken, didn't she go back to her roots, right? She went back to the basics of the when she was doing the brilliant in the 80s or whatever it was, 90s, the hosting of introducing. Is she still doing that? Like she's introducing the films?
Yes. I mean,
Exactly.
10 years ago when I first launched Radio Horror, exactly 10 years ago when I first launched Radio Horror, she was doing the search for the next Elvira, and she found it.
Yes.
But
Yes.
behind the scenes stuff has never become out publicly, other than when I've asked her, when I met her at conventions, whatever happened to the next Elvira? She said it didn't quite work out the way we were planning it, and I had to take back control of it. And that's all I'm legally allowed to talk about. She like emphasized legally with like quotations around it. So yeah, it rates right up there with it rates right up there with Tony Moore, the actual co-creator of The Walking Dead.
Oh, well, here's the thing with Elvira. You know, she's such an icon and such a character. There is no, and I love Cassandra. I've hosted events, you know, with her at the different conventions as well. No one could recreate Elvira, just like, and I will be bold enough to say, because again, and I'll answer your question in a second, you know, people have said that to me. Network TV executives, agents have said in this town, you know, well, what if we did pick up your show and they wanted, you know, a big named actress to, you know, like a mainstream named actress to play Ms. Bambi? First of all, I would never let it happen in a million years. Second of all, that would be the same event as trying to replace Elvira with a new Elvira. It's just not going to happen. No one's going to play Ms. Bambi like I'm Ms. Bambi because we created these roles from our heart, soul, passion, you know, essence.
Yep.
So to answer your question, though, I will tell you, I would never want to be a full-time host. That does not inspire me. I think it's fun part-time. I think it'd be sure if someone offered me a big paying gig on, you know, a nighttime show on I don't know, Fox Network and said we want Ms. Vampy to host a show, I would do it in a heartbeat. But it wouldn't be my life. Like I'm hearing what you're asking, which is such a great question before, and it's like thinking of only doing that role for the rest of my life. It would break my heart because I just love acting so much and I love playing different characters. And, you know, I'm so proud, and we'll get to shout out to some of the films that I've had come out recently or have coming out or at the whole festival circuit this whole year. And I've been offered some incredible acting opportunities that show, you know, my real acting chops. So I couldn't do it. Dr. Chris is, and that breaks my heart to say because, you know, I love Ms. Vampy like to death, pun intended. But
wah, wah.
To undeath. But like I know I need to spread my wings. I need to fly. I need to like a bat, pun intended again. I know I'm silly tonight. I need to do other roles, and I have so many great. I will share.
Okay, I got a Muppets joke for you based on your jokes.
Okay. Yeah.
What's the name of the two old Muppets that hang out above the stage? Stanley and Warfield, the two old Muppets that heckle the Muppets.
Okay. Oh yes.
Yeah. Do you know what's worse than Brooke's jokes? What? Her movies.
Oh no. That's not true. I have some really good ones. Probably really good ones that have come out since I've been on your show last.
I know.
But here's what's so funny,
But I had to do that.
Segue. Yeah, no, I love it. And I used to love the Muppets. But to segue from the irony of the question you asked too, which you're probably getting the first exclusive. Like, I'm so inspired. I connected with an amazing actor, screenwriter, director now too, Marcus Redmond. And he's so talented. He was a rock star on TV when he was young. He was one of the stars of Doogie Howser. And he's done some amazing indie Sundance films and stuff. And so we connected, and we both have such a similar interest in films. And he loves the old, like, Joan Crawford style films, which I love. And he loves also, like, you know, Woody Allen style films. So long story long, he just offered me the female lead role in a film that he's doing that we're about to shoot a short film around it to hopefully raise financing for the feature. But it's called Alan and Millie. And so to answer you, if I had to only play Ms. Vampy for the rest of my life, there's like no way right now, and this is so current because it just all went down, like there's no way that I could have said no to this role of Millie. And you want to really laugh, listeners, and Dr. Chris? So go figure, Millie's a vampire.
Yeah.
I can't get away from it. But at least I get to, really use my acting chops again, and I get to do a vampire again. So all my favorite stuff, and the horror fans know this, like, I love the vampire stuff. I just do.
Between when the last time you came on the show and now, I put together my own vampire-related project. Besides putting out a vampire ebook, which is still online and still waiting part 2 to come out, I made a vampire short film. I directed. Well, no, I didn't direct it. I wrote and produced it. Someone else directed it. And I'm going to be directing my next short next Sunday, actually, called The Model, which is an homage to the Neon Demon in Audition.
Oh, my God.
It's also
That's
something
fantastic.
that
I didn't even know you were looking to direct.
Speaking of when I was making the joke about, like, good or bad films, I saw Killer Rack.
Which is such a fun, intentionally over-the-top, campy film. You guys know, and because in summer of 2009, we shot the sequel to the cult classic Slime City. We did Slime City Massacre, and I ended up winning the B. I think that's when I was on your show last. I had just won the B Movie Golden Cob Award for Leading Lady Scream Queen of the Year 2010. Or maybe I wasn't on your show yet. I don't even know.
No,
maybe I'd already been on your show at that point.
Again, it was like the 2009 or 2010.
Yeah.
But
that's crazy. So I ended up winning that. And so Greg Lamberson, my fabulous director and friend, who did Slime City Massacre, just released by Camp Motion Pictures. And Slime City Massacre, just everybody listening too, if you love the cult classic underground stuff and the fun stuff, got released by Camp Motion Pictures as well, got a re-release, both just right before the new year. So they're both out. Killer Rack is so crazy fun, and I am not on camera. I actually am the voice, the sexy Mae West voice, all you listeners, of the Killer Boobs, the Killer Rack.
Yeah, that's what I was like when I saw your name in the credits. I was like, yeah. And I saw the movie, I'm like, okay, I know it's been a while since she's been on the show, but that's not her as the Killer Rack girl. That doesn't look anything like her. That girl's paler, and
yeah, Jessica's adorable. She's adorable, and I actually voice her boobs.
Yeah.
So
no, I got that.
Literally voice the Rack. No kidding.
I got that afterwards, but I had saw the movie because I was talking to somebody about Teeth. Have you ever seen Teeth?
Oh, I love that movie. That's a really good film.
So I had saw Teeth, and someone recommended I watch Killer Rack because they said, like, well, whereas like teeth are in the vagina, this is the tits that kill.
Oh, yeah, but night and day, though, right after you saw it, because this is so over-the-top, kind of trauma-esque, fun, campy. Like, Paul McGinnis wrote this really intentionally funny. I mean, it's funny, it's silly, it's fun. It's like I tell everybody, every fraternity guy at every university should go out and get drunk and stoned and watch it.
Yeah, but the other thing is that the poster artwork looked like you.
The actual Rack?
Well, no, I don't mean the... Okay. No, I don't mean just like the breast in the poster, but the way the hair is and the way your hair is, how crazy your hair is.
Wait, which poster?
Go look at the Killer Rack poster on IMDb.
I mean, because they have two.
Hold on.
Oh, on IMDb?
Yeah,
wait, I'm looking at it on my phone right now. I mean, there's one where they have, like, they intentionally did, like, an 80s style, almost like a disco-like, with a T-shirt, or there's one
that's what I meant, that the poster art looked like you just because of the hair, the way the hair is, and yes, because the breasts are so big. I thought that was you for a second, like they modeled it after you. I was like...
I think Greg did.
Is that Brooke in the poster? Because her hair matches, and yeah, the breasts are a little bit ridiculous, but she has large breasts.
That's so funny. Yeah, that is so funny.
That's why I said that's gonna be her. And and I thought you were in the movie until I learned later on. I was like, wait a minute, she's not in this until the breast started talking. I'm like, oh, she's the voice of the breast. Okay.
I'm the voice of the Rack. Yes. I'm the voice of the Rack.
Yes.
Isn't that crazy? Such a fun movie, and I love working with Greg Lamberson. And Slime City Massacre was really my first intro to, well, maybe Dahmer versus Gacy with Ford Austin directing was my first, kind of getting my feet into the real low budget horror stuff, you know, because before that I had done Polycarp with Charles Durning and Michael Pare, and that was back in 06, 07, and then I was on your show right after Anchor Bay distributed I Murders, which Robbie Bryan wrote and directed, and you know, that was extraordinary. I got to act with Tony Todd Candyman and William Forsythe and Gabrielle Anwar and, I mean, Frank Grillo and Terry Colombino and just extraordinary people, Billy D. Williams, and that show was great. So then after that was when I kind of hit the ground running in the more underground indie world of the Dahmer vs. Gacy, Slime City Massacre, Killer Rack. But, you know, there's been so much, again, in between, like, big shout outs to, I was saying to you about good films, too. I mean, not that they're all good films. I'm just saying, like, really well done, you know, low budget films that I don't even know how these producers and directors make them. Like, shout out to Neil Johnson, who I got a really great taste of a couple of big sci-fi indie films, which are so well done. They look to me like, you know, what do I know about effects and stuff, but like CG, you know, CGI, but the starships.
Yeah, like Starship Rising.
Yes, like I play one of the, you know, 3 leads in that one. Claudia Wells is in that. Emmy, Darren Jacobs, my dear friend who I love, who's so talented, Marilyn Gigliotti from Clerks. So that one was extraordinary. And then part 2 to that was Starship Apocalypse. And I'm telling you guys, like for a low budget film and any sci-fi fans out there, go see it if you like spaceship movies. It has heart. You know, it's totally crazy with the effects. Like it looks like we're really in space. To me, it does. You know, so that was amazing.
Now you and the stretch out that your career has done since the last time you came on the show, you've never been out. You never came out to Massachusetts to make a movie, right? Because you would have called me,
dude,
right?
Of course. And I'm so frustrated. And I remember back 7 years ago, like
oh my God, I had your
hard to get me to come out for one of the conventions.
Yes, I actually do remember saying that you can't come out as a guest. You should come out, like take some vacation time and come out to Rock and Shock, the big horror convention we have out here, as just like a fan. Now, there's like a couple other horror conventions that we have going on in the area since the last time you came on.
That's like insulting. I would never do that. Like I would come out as a guest.
Yeah.
In a heartbeat. You know. Yeah. I mean. Yeah. So, but I mean, your
agent got to get on the phone with like the people at Rock and Shock and be like, "Hey, I got this girl. She's done all this stuff and she's got this fan base.
Well,
you should book her."
Tell your people. I mean, Derek Mackey at Cool Waters Productions reps me for my appearances and my autograph sessions and all that stuff. So somebody needs to get me out because I would love to come see you and all the Boston fans and you know, Massachusetts fans. There's lots of them, and I would love to come party with you guys. But yeah, I would have to come out as a guest.
Yeah, no, I understand. Just the cost alone and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But
only because I am so entrenched in it all the time. You know, being a guest at conventions and walking red carpets every night here in Hollywood and stuff, like just to go out to go. It's like, okay, I'll go to Hawaii for the weekend and relax. You know?
Oh, I actually have a friend who has a summer house in Hawaii. Not summer house. She lives in Hawaii now. She moved out there after a bunch of stuff in Massachusetts, and she finally like made a big announcement saying, "Guys, everything's fine, but I'm going to be moving out of Massachusetts." And I want to say goodbye to everyone, and there's an open-ended invitation for anyone to come out to Hawaii to spend the weekend.
What part of Hawaii did you move to?
I don't remember. And so I'm like, I've got to get out to Hawaii, not just to see my friend, but just to go out to Hawaii and have a free place to stay, and she's going to drive me around. So if I go out to Hawaii, I'll call you and be like, all right, I'm going to Hawaii this time. Fly out to Hawaii. We're going to have some mad awesome times.
That's so funny. Yeah, well, Hawaii's beautiful, and I've been several times because it's easy to jump over from, you know, the West Coast. It's only not even a 5-hour flight for me.
We'll do it up like the episode of the Brady Bunch with Vincent Price. No.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious.
Now, you also have a book that you put out called Coaching from a Possessed Hot Mess. Give us just like a minute or two, because we don't have a lot of time left, because we go on the air at midnight. A minute or two of like what this book is about.
Yeah, so bottom line, Coaching from a Professed Hot Mess, my award-winning coaching tip book. It is super, super simple. I call it my humble, beautiful little bedside table book with tips. It's kind of a chick flicky book, but it's really not. I mean, so many of my guy fans and you know, followers have shouted out and said how much it meant to them and how much they loved it. It's really just tips for everything in life. There's a female empowerment section. There's a tips for holidays, how to get through the holidays with challenging families. There is an LGBT section. There is a lot of dating, Dr. Chris, a lot of dating. There's a dating section. There's an online dating section. And it's really a book of all my due diligence and all my research and work and all my talk shows I've been on and all my talking points and all my articles I've written for Huffington Post and so on and so forth compiled together. So it is something I put together to wrap all my stuff in a bow for me to help you, to help others. So that's all it is. It's beautiful little tips that support people in life. And it shows how I own and rock my hot mess. We all have a hot mess. We all go through ups and downs in life, and that's just life. And we have to stop trying to be perfect and chasing perfection because it's exhausting. And that's what it is.
I don't know if you're a mess, but you're definitely hot.
Thank you. I'm a hot mess.
Also, would you?
I'm definitely a mess.
Also,
I own it.
also,
Rock
would
it.
you? Also, would you say you're giving your readers just the tip?
I'm sorry.
You messed
What'd
up.
you say?
Yeah, you messed up my entire joke.
Oh, are you being dirty?
I was gonna say is like, are you saying that? So you're saying that you're giving your readers because it's filled with tips, just the tip?
Oh, gee, you are definitely online dating. You're definitely Tindering these days. You dirty Dr. Chris. Oh my God. But yeah, check out, and my other book for teens, you're so bad. My other book for teens is Ms. Vampy's Teen Talk. Teen Talk, there's a lot of power in your choices. So any parents listening who want positive message for your teen girls, get them my book too. And also big shout out too, real quickly, to my two brands that I've been blessed to be branded with. Thank you to Middle Babe Mayhem, Allison Middle Babe Cohen. We branded, oh, you would love these. We have a Ms. Vampy shirt, like awesome, all different variations. And we have Ms. Vampy Girl that Bill Bronson designed. We have a Rock Your Hot Mess shirt for all the rock music and metal fans that want to rock your hot mess out there. And we have the Scream Queen Brooke Lewis design, which you would love. It's like a pinup girl. It's amazing. And then also for all the lady listeners, go to Tosh Cosmetics, and Tosh Guerrero Castagna is my partner in crime over there. She's amazing. She has an all-natural hypoallergenic makeup and skincare brand, and we did Professor Hot Mess and Ms. Vampy Girl as well. So I got my whole business brand in here. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. It's definitely like the only thing you're missing is your own line of. You have clothes, but do you have a line of lingerie as well for Miss Vampy?
Well, be careful what you say because I can't really talk about that yet. But it is,
almost got you in trouble. Okay.
Yeah,
what about an action?
we
What
will.
about an action
Yes.
figure with kung fu grip?
What?
What about an action figure with kung fu grip and rock'em sock'em arms?
No, Miss Vampy's too ladylike for that. But she will have, we are in talks for when the show goes for like a college girl kind of, pajamas and definitely lingerie for the moms.
That is awesome. I mean, that type of character definitely needs that kind of lingerie. Now, there's a great YouTube series I follow called Maven of the Eventide, and it's this very gorgeous, voluptuous, like corset, Victorian gown wearing YouTube host, which is kind of unusual for YouTube. You know what I mean? YouTube hosts are usually just like jeans and t-shirts. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But she wears like this Victorian gown with the corset and just like hoists them up to make for a very vampire like presentable performance while she's talking about like vampire movies, and that's all she covers. And she recently did Once Bitten, which was the very first Jim Carrey movie starring Laura Hutton, the former Playboy playmate. And she talks about how in the movie, Once Bitten is now I love the movie, but I did have to agree with her because I've grown up. I'm 37 years old. I've matured. That Once Bitten is written by men who don't know women. And boy, does that movie show it.
That's a really good point. I love how all these like girl power chicks are going out there and like, kind of revealing what the truth is in the entertainment business.
And she talks about how like, there's a difference between like being sexually empowered like Elvira and like whatever the fuck they're doing in this movie. And do you ever get those type of this might have been a question I asked like 7 years ago, but you're still, the Miss Vampy thing is being resurrected. do you ever get those questions or like those comments that like you're just selling your tits and there's nothing to Miss Vampy, just like Elvira? I mean, Elvira made that point very clear in everything she was doing, that, you know, she would constantly comment on her breast, but that was like the tongue-in-cheek joke that she made before people made it for her, so that way it wasn't like, almost like it wasn't like the joke wasn't taken away from her to empower herself. Do you ever get a lot of that like feedback and comments that you're not doing anything worthwhile other than selling your body?
No, not at all. And that's a great question.
Ever? You never get those? You never get those comments?
Here's what I'm going to say. No, here's what I will say, and you know how honest I am, and I'll share with the listeners. Like, two things to address that exactly. For one, once we started doing the teen show, you know, and I had cleavage and her boobs are like, Ms. Vampy is who she is, and that's part of the message, that you can be a woman and have boobs naturally and be sexy and wear hair and makeup, and you can still be brilliant and educated and have positive messages and cultivate your inner strengths. So once we got to the teen girl shows and I was trying to be that role model, or I am committed to being that role model still, that no, because there was so much depth to the messages that we were creating. Now, when it goes to the more, you know, adult stuff, and I don't even mean adult sexy, just, you know, the dating tips and all that stuff that we did with the Love Bite series, again, tons of cleavage, absolutely sexy, hair and makeup, but she gives valuable advice and valuable information. So I have not, to be honest with you, gotten hit with that. What I have gotten hit with, and is so frustrating with some mothers of teens, they will say, well, this is what you're trying to teach our teen and tween girls. You're such a great role model that you have to show cleavage, that you wear makeup. Wouldn't it be more beneficial if, like, you know, you covered up and you didn't go over the top? But they're missing the entire point of my plight and my message in this industry and as a woman and in life. Like, and for me, Brooke, and I'm not saying I'm so sexy anymore or whatever, but when I was younger, and, you know, and I still get a lot of attention in Hollywood and the fan base, like, you know, it's so frustrating. I mean, I got into law school, you know, I have 3 college degrees. I'm a board certified life coach. I took the boards with therapists years ago, you know, and like I've produced major feature films with Philly Chick Pictures, as you know. There's no stone unturned here. I will rhetorically spar with the best attorneys in this town right now. So why can't a woman be smart and educated and have a purpose and have a reason and have all of that and still wear hair, makeup, and a push-up bra and be sexy?
Yeah, true. I mean, there's no absolute reason. I mean,
that's what's frustrating, that the whole appearance and reality component, you know, and that's what's frustrating still about society. And the worst part is, and I can say this because I'm a life coach, the women who judge other women and who don't support other women. And you look at someone, especially here in Hollywood, you know, you look at some chick walking by in a skin-tight leopard dress and you're like, oh, right away your mind's going to go to, you know, she's a hoochie. Meanwhile, I know some of the most brilliant... Yeah, I know. Well, I'm old. What, you know, and I know some of the most brilliant.
You're not that old.
I'm a little older than you.
No, you can't be.
Years. Just shush. Yeah, a couple years. But you know, like the most brilliant. I know women rocking their way through Warner Brothers lot, you know, as studio executives in sexy outfits, and like you automatically assume that they're going to audition for some stripper part. So it's, you know, we have to be very careful not to judge a book by its cover.
That kind of goes back to my short film that I'm working on next weekend, which I'll go over to more of that about that off the air, just because we are so crunched for time.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying, absolutely, and I'm glad you were able to express your opinion on that, just because when I saw that in that reviewer's when I heard that in that reviewer's comments about the movie Once Bitten, which again, as much as I love that movie because I like Jim Carrey, it's his first movie, and Laura Hutton, oh my God, former Playboy playmate Laura Hutton, just my heart is beating in my chest thinking about her, and she does play a very sexy vampire. There are so many things wrong with that movie, but I still enjoy it for what it is, even though it's just ridiculous at times. And she made that comment about that. somebody had brought up to me because I'm doing an LGBT audiobook. Which is extremely sexual. I mean, it's about two women engaging a BDSM relationship that met online. I really do appreciate you coming back on the show with us, Brooke. Maybe we won't wait 7 fucking years.
7 years.
7 years to have you on the show. Maybe I'll make it out to California. Maybe we'll meet in the middle somewhere for like a horror convention. I'll be like, hey,
dude, talk to your people. Have your people call my people. I'll come out to Boston and do a con. I'd be honored.
I will drop a line to at least a couple of people I know very well that would
awesome.
that would consider it. And hopefully they'll look into it. So it's just always
Thank
a matter.
You so much.
You know, I got to explain how like cons work and then political stuff behind it or whatever. And it's always like, we have these all, you know, we got all this money for like this, like the Robert Englund, you know what I mean? Or like whatever horror movies in theaters.
And the Elvira, and then the rest of us kind of trickle down. But since the economy crashed, since I talked to you last, because I was at every con, I was like, you know, the It Scream Queen, new girl in town back in 2007. And then, once the economy crashed, it was like, hey, we want you to come, but fly yourself out. I'm like, that's just not going to happen.
Definitely. Thank you so much for coming on the show. We will definitely not wait 7 years. We might wait maybe 7 months.
Let's not.
7 months, because there'll probably be 1,000 more things to talk about. Your resurrection of Miss Vampy will definitely happen, and we'll see what else we can possibly bring up. And again, if you ever find yourself close enough to Massachusetts, be like, I'm going to be at this con. You should come to this con.
Yes.
Yes. Give out your social media stuff.
Yes, everybody can check me out at Brooke Lewis LA. That's my Facebook fan page, Instagram, Twitter. I finally got an Instagram. And brookelewis.com is my press site, all my acting stuff, all the magazine covers and all of that good stuff. A lot of awards is on there. Check it all out, IMDb me. And Be You and Be Fearless Life Coach. If anybody's interested in any of my books, my makeup, my clothing, and just for your listeners too, for all my media, do for Metal Babe Mayhem clothing line. And it's actually all on my website, so you can check it out. But you can get hashtag Brooke16 for 20% off of Metal Babe Mayhem clothing, and makeup Brooke17, hashtag Brooke17 for Tosh Cosmetics, 15% off. So that's like my media generous pimp out from my girls. And so any of your listeners, you want a discount, go check it out.
Cool. Thank you again so much, very much.
Thank you. Good to catch up with you, Dr. Chris. Keep on keeping on. Keep up with the great work. I'm so glad to see you doing so much.